up, everybody? It's your girl. Welcome to China, and how you doing? You guys, today, as you already know, your girl's going to be discussing this Wendy Williams biopic that I've been waiting on. Obviously, you know, I got on my jacket. I've been looking cute all day for it. And as well as the documentary on Lifetime. Now, I'm going to say this. Lifetime put their foot into this. Before I get started, if y'all going to bash Lifetime movies, and get off my channel. Because I love Lifetime. Lifetime definitely brought me back after this movie. And those clips at the Shade Room and, you know, all of those other vlogs and the clips. Sierra Payton, who was the actor who played in the Wendy movie, she was good. So y'all leave her alone. So I'm going to unpack the movie, you guys. And then I'm going to talk about the documentary. And I'm going to just kind of put them in tandem. But I want us to celebrate Wendy Williams today. So if y'all are going to talk shit about Wendy Williams, you can go somewhere else. Obviously, I like Wendy Williams. You know, I got my how you doing coat on today. And my how you doing, you know, blouse on. Anyway, you guys, so let's talk about the movie. I'm on my way to 500 subscribers, y'all. So hit that subscribe button too. Show your girl some love. So anyway, subscribe. The Wendy Williams movie. So I sat and watched this literally live in tandem, and a lot of the things in the Wendy Williams movie, if you did look at the Wendy Williams book, or if you do know about Wendy Williams' life, I am a fan, obviously, you would know a lot of these things. But the first thing in the movie that stuck out to me, we're going to get right into it, was the weight issue. For those who do not know, Wendy's a very tall woman. Wendy is tall and voluptuous now, but I guess back in the day, Wendy definitely struggled with her weight. And her parents, and her mother specifically, and her father shamed her about her weight. You know, we're always a little bit chunky. You know, my parents never said anything to me about my weight, but, you know, that was something big. She said that she remembers and recalls them giving her tuna and mustard, and that was it. And she had to, like, sneak, like ho-hos and, you know, those little cakes and stuff we would eat as a kid, and, you know, sneak change off of her dad's dresser just to get some extra food because her weight. And we open up in the movie seeing her trying to like fit into a dress and everyone just shaming her about her weight. And also to correlate that into the documentary, you guys, that was also a huge first part of the documentary. So I think that the first thing we get introduced is showing like Wendy and her insecurities as a young girl. And to go into that, she also discusses and shows us like her going through bulimia. And for those who do not know what bulimia is, it is when you vomit after eating. And that is a very extreme and very, very tough eating disorder to come over. And I don't know a lot about bulimia, so if you guys have experienced that, please, you know, if you feel comfortable, share with us. But, you know, I would love to know what you guys think about, like, you know, Wendy's parents, you know, shaming her about her weight. And have you been shamed by your parents? Was this an old school thing? So, I don't know. So that was the first thing that stuck out to me in the movie. I think the childhood actress that played her was good. I think that as we started to see Wendy's life go on and kind of see her start to get into, you know, her first radio job, they already hit us, you know, 20 minutes in with the R word, the R accusation. If you guys don't know what R is, you shouldn't be watching this. And if you guys have been following the blogs, Wendy has said and came out to say that Shrek, allegedly, or Shrek, whoever, was the man who assaulted her and R-worded her a night that she got invited to after an interview. And she said it was almost like he was interviewing her. They showed us that in the movie. So all these things in Wendy's book back in the early 2000s, all of this information was in there. And you guys know I love Armand Wiggins. And the lady who was Shrek's alleged wife called into the Armand Wiggins show, and she was like, this isn't true. You know, Wendy does cocaine, and she smokes coke and all that, and smokes crack, and, you know, this isn't true. But I think it's true. I think it's very much true. And Wendy didn't, you know, not show us that she was smoking crack. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the crack thing. So we all know that Wendy, back in the day, had a cocaine habit. In the movie, she even showed us, you know, her doing her thing, living her life as if, you know, we sitting here smoking weed or something. She's just smoking the cocaine. And it's just interesting. Like, Wendy Williams did not hold back about smoking crack. And that's what I'm saying. Come on now. I think that's why that Wendy Williams and that, you know, I'm going to take it old school, that Whitney Houston iconic interview, Wendy was like, you're not going to bullshit me, Miss Houston, about this, you know, about the cocaine or the crack. But anyway, so that was that. And Wendy met Kevin, which is her husband, as we all know. Now we're going to go talk about Kevin. And apparently and allegedly, he was the one that got her off of drugs. And we see her have this whirlwind romance with Kevin in the movie. And in the movie, this is a difference. Now I'm going to tell you a difference between the movie and the documentary that was after. In the movie, she meets Kevin. at the club. And then in real life, she said that she met him through a mutual friend, which was their DJ friend, who they were friends with for a long time. And they met at a youth roller skating rink. So it's interesting, you guys, how like TV kind of like plays those things up. But I'm just like, if she met Kevin at a roller skating rink, then okay. But anyway, y'all know I don't like Kevin Hunter. I don't think anybody likes Kevin Hunter. But I think that, honestly, we're going to get into Kevin right now, because I think Kevin really took a huge chunk of Wendy's movie, and I almost just wish that Wendy never met Kevin so I could see what her life would be like without him. And it made me reflect on my life. Like, I don't ever want like my boyfriend or my husband to be like the biggest like story or the biggest part of my life that like they ruin my life or I have to talk about them. And, you know, that's like a huge part, because we all know that, we don't get into it, Wendy's affair was one of the biggest things in her career. And Kevin, her husband, almost overshadowed everything and ruined her career due to an affair with an ugly younger woman. So with that being said, you guys, I think that really, honestly and truly, Wendy is an icon and she is a trooper to deal with this. So anyway, a disclaimer that Wendy also made about Kevin was that Kevin was never a woman beater. But we see a scene on I think it's probably like Wendy's like 5th or 6th season, and they showed us in the movie this scene with her and Kevin in specific that she also talked about in the documentary, A Correlation. When Kevin came in and he bought her a Rolex, and he was late to a very important meeting that she had when it was time for her to do something with the network. It was a big wig, meeting. And he came and embarrassed her and had the Rolex box, because he got her a Rolex. And he slammed it on her like glass long desk. And everybody was like, looking, and like everybody was like astounded, but everybody knew that's just how Kevin was. Kevin kept Wendy away from a lot of things. And Wendy also talked about this in her documentary as well, and she said like, after he did that, she's like, I had Rolexes, I just needed you to be there for me. It's not about the materialistic things. And I want to talk about that. Like, men will try to buy how you feel, they would try to buy things to make better, and it's just like Wendy had everything in the world. And honestly, what I realized from this is like, all she really wanted was Kevin, and all she really wanted was to be loved, and Kevin was her protector. So on the note of protectors, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the drama that they brought up in the movie, and fights and iconic scenes and things that Wendy, have been through in her career. So one of the most iconic things was this R&B group by the name of Total. For those who don't know who Total is, it's just an R&B group from back in the day, a little ratchet group from New York. They're like some R&B girls, like Escape. Wendy was, and this is in the movie apparently, was in the bathroom, and these girls were like, Wendy Williams, I got some tea on this group called Total. The group's name is Total, okay? Stay with me. And she's like doing some coke in the bathroom. She's like, what is the tea that you have about the Total? And they go and tell her that they're going broke, and Diddy's like taking their money, and then Wendy starts getting threats. She brings it up on the radio. So like Wendy was like, bro, she was literally like one of the founding women, the only founding women, one of the founding fajas of gossip radio. Y'all think that Angela Yee and Charlamagne the God, I didn't even get to him yet, they came out, because all of these people were from Wendy's womb, okay? So they come to the office and they want to come beat Wendy up after the radio broadcast. Kevin comes out randomly, out of nowhere, and saves her. It's like, Wendy, come here. And then everyone says in the documentary and in the movie that she takes off and Kevin holds her, and they go off into their Mercedes, and just randomly Kevin showed up, or just heard that they were going to come and beat Wendy's ass. And then after that, she knew that Kevin was the one for her, because Kevin was always her savior. And then if we go farther along into the movie, when Wendy passed out, people really, really wanted to say to her, listen, Kevin is the one and the reason why you're sick, because then we find out about what? Her alcoholism. So if you guys remember in the movie, Wendy goes ahead and passes out. She passes out, and she's, she's wearing her Lady the Beautiful outfit, and she's, I didn't even mean to do Wendy like that, but Wendy falls out, and in the movie, Kevin comes to her rescue. Kevin's up in his office, and in the documentary, Wendy said, again, as dumb and naive as it was, she thought that things would work out between her and Kevin. But then Kevin, who she knew was having an affair, and she said in the documentary she found watches and Rolexes and underwear in the bed and, stains and nasty things. And she just chalked it up. But then one day, Wendy said, listen here, buddy. I'm having an alcohol issue because you're cheating. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And if anybody knows Wendy's sign, drop a comment below. How much Kevin controlled and ruined her life. Because she just genuinely loved him. You just see the love Wendy has for Kevin even now. Because she still tries to protect him a little bit. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button and support your girl. But anyway, you guys, it's just interesting how he controlled so many facets of her life. And then he ends up getting Chynnapotts, as we know, pregnant. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. So Wendy goes on and says that when she was in rehab, and we see this in the movie and how controlling Kevin was, they put her into rehab because her relationship was really finally on the rocks at this point, like to the point where she didn't want to be with him anymore. And they go ahead and put her in rehab, control her, send her to Florida. Sends her to Florida after that. And she begs the young man who's working at the rehab facility to give her phone and a teddy bear. And she sees that Kevin got Chyna pregnant in rehab. And she's in rehab because of you. And I understand people can't force you to pick up the bottle. And I get that I try to be a channel of non-biases. But this man really did ruin her life. But this should be a lesson. If anything, we as young women, young entertainers, take this as a lesson. You cannot have a man ruin your life. Never, never. This was such a huge part of her life that, a lot of people talked about it. It almost ruined her career. And then Wendy goes on in the end and says, listen, I had to take my career back by the horns. And it was offensive that Kevin went and had another baby with his mistress. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Woo. Had another baby with his mistress. Another baby, yes, with his mistress. And Wendy had like 3 miscarriages before that. And he ended up having a baby girl. And we just see in the movie how emotional Wendy is when, that's why I think the actress is not that bad. When Wendy finds out that he had a baby girl. Because we've seen in the movie one of her miscarriages, just to go back a little bit, that she wanted a baby girl and she ripped up the paper because she had another miscarriage and, all these things. And I think that in her relationship, from being able to see it, because we always hear about it, and even though it's like a movie and it's depicted, some's real and some's not, we really get to see how Wendy and Kevin have that bond. And I do see how they have that bond. Wendy was hurting, Kevin was hurting, but Kevin never got help for his hurting, and Wendy wanted to protect her son. And she came out in interviews and said she found out for 12 years, which is crazy. So I hope I hope after this movie and the documentary, y'all, that Wendy completely is just not associated with Kevin, even though I know she will be. But it's just so interesting and crazy to see how much this man really did control and ruin her life. But we see at the end of the movie, she takes back the reins. They celebrate and have drinks, celebrating that, she divorces from Kevin, and she takes the money back, and she ruins the girl's house and all that stuff. And it was very moving, to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, honestly. So if you guys didn't, think the movie was good, let me know why you didn't think so. But I want to just, dabble in on the iconic documentary. So I thought the documentary, even though I've kind of talked about these things in tandem, I hope this is much easier. The documentary, beautiful lifetime. I thought Surviving R. Kelly was good, just saying. But I think it was a beautiful depiction. I think that people were able to be honest. I think that it did align with a lot of things. And I think that she did open up about her opportunities in specific. And it was so cool to really see. One of my favorite parts was the different pictures that we would see of Wendy when she was younger and the videos. And, really learning how Wendy was that girl. Wendy was the one girl, that was interviewing and gossiping and interviewing the rappers, and the iconic interview with her and Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. And, she really made a name for herself. And one thing that she did drop is tea in the movie. And, in the documentary as well, was in the movie we see, Wendy go ahead and pull aside one of the execs from the radio station when she was working in Philly. And she wanted to go back to New York. This was, one of her last biggest times working on radio before she went on TV. And Kevin was her manager during that time. And, Kevin has been reaching out to them, and they just miss each other. But Wendy really wanted this opportunity to go back. So she pulled the guy to a side and she like met up with him in the car, and she told him like she wanted this opportunity and and they talked about it. But she said, don't tell Kevin that I talked to you about this before, because Kevin's going to reach out to you about it. So just act like you knew, or this was new news. And I thought that was so interesting that she still wanted to save Kevin's feelings and make Kevin feel like a man, to the point where her biggest opportunity, Kevin Hunter thought that he got Wendy Williams her biggest opportunity. And he actually did not. He actually did not. She did it, and she said that was the very first time she ever said that, and I just thought that was just, man. But they're always going to have that loyalty, and, you know, they were married for a long time, even though over half of the marriage he was not faithful, he had another child. But Wendy just said after the child thing, I think that's really was a straw that broke the camel's back. You have another child with somebody, you know, would you all stay with somebody? Do you think Wendy was wrong? I mean, could you blame her? But overall, Kevin tried to isolate her. He was controlling. He accused her of messing with the bodyguard. She found underwear and Rolexes in his shit. So it's like, you know, what's the deal then, Kevin? And, you know, he even had Sharina in the house 9 miles away. And Wendy told the story about her pulling up. And we seen it in the movie. She wrote Kevin and Wendy Forever and seen the house and the car. And she talks about how, you know, his friends would never look her in the eye because she just let him have another house, because she said they would drink and smoke blunts. And she didn't want that. Drink brown liquor and smoke blunts and do hood shit, basically, is what she said. And she didn't want her son around him. So she allowed him to have another home. I would never do it. I would never let... Would you let your man have another home? No matter how rich I am, my man would never have another home. You're going to stay in this home, motherfucking me. Okay? But anyway, she let him have another home, as naivete as it was. And she said the friends would never look in the eye because they were guilty. But she was like, I would always have them make them look me in the eye, you know, to see what Kevin was up to. So you guys, like... this Miss Wendy outdid herself with this. So, I keep saying this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love Wendy Williams. She's definitely one of my favorite girls ever. So, it ended. The documentary ended. And it basically ended up with, you guys know, Wendy going back to her 11th season. She had on her yellow outfit. And then Kevin did not return. And they put it in the writing in the black screen. As dramatic as Lifetime is, like, Kevin did not return to season 11. September 15th, September 16th. That was it. Kevin was gone. He was out of here. And then after that, they go on to say that Wendy completely, like, her mood changed, everything changed. People, like, were scared to, like, clap, but everyone was just so excited, you know, that Kevin was finally gone. It was just interesting to hear everybody talk about those experiences of wanting this man to be so gone and so out of her life. So, you know, I definitely enjoyed it, you guys. So I'm going to leave it at that. I feel like I'm starting to babble because I'm excited. Please, please, please make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Let me know what y'all think about this. I enjoyed the movie. Let me know if you're going to watch it, the movie or the documentary. Did you think Sierra Payton was a good actress? How do you think about Kevin? How do you think how Wendy was acting? Let me know, you guys. And that's all. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.